welcome to P3 World's special transmission on the developing situation between India and Pakistan. And of course, we're here to talk more about what has been going on since the Pahalgam incident on the 22nd of April and where both the countries stand today, and a number of measures, of course, taken by India. We've seen Pakistan take reciprocal steps, and now, of course, there is discussions on how the situation is going to move forward. Pakistan has, of course, engaged different fronts, including putting forward the facts, engaging with diplomatic community and other regional and international players, and then also, of course, making it very, very clear that the army and the security forces of the country are fully prepared to deal with any untoward incident. And we've seen most recently the Chief of Army Staff also reiterate this particular stance and has made it very, very clear that if there is any misadventure against Pakistan, Pakistan will be responding effectively and is fully prepared to do so as it has done so in the past. We've seen statements coming in previously also from the Deputy Foreign Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, and of course the DG ISPR making similar claims with reference to how, if India wants to start this war, it can, but it will be Pakistan who ends it. And so it's important to understand, of course, where the country stands, someone who, of course, has exercised complete restraint and responsibility in the light of unilateral, irresponsible and violating actions that have been taken by India. At the same time, of course, we are going to be taking a look at where the situation is heading with the fact that Pakistan, of course, preferred peace, and this is something that is very, very essential to how the situation is going to move forward. So what are the ways in which it may evolve towards de-escalation, and how exactly will that happen will also be the focus of our discussion. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh pitafi and Raja Faisal, and also been joined in the studios by our guest, Major General Retired Zahid Mahmood. Thank you very much, General Sahib, for joining us and being a part of our special transmission. I'll start with you because we've seen statements and rhetoric coming in from India with statements pointing towards the Chief of Army Staff claiming that Pakistan is not fully prepared, or that its military leadership is not coming at the forefront, which of course has been refuted by what we have seen in terms of the activities that the Chief has undertaken and the resolve that he has expressed most recently, and made it very, very clear where we stand. So first, I want your take with reference to the preparedness of our armed forces and the leadership of the Army Chief.
Sana, thank you very much for the invite. It is always a pleasure sharing this with Farrukh pitafi Sahib and Raja Faisal. Let me begin with making this statement that Pakistan is assertive, and most importantly, Pakistan is balanced. So our nation must have this confidence. So Pakistani military leadership, Pakistani political leadership, even Pakistani media experts, whosoever is speaking about this country, whosoever is representing this country, is representing with grace and confidence. And it's not rhetoric, because anybody who thinks that they are balanced, they have the requisite response against this, unfortunately, this naive enemy and Hindutva mindset. So there are sane voices, there are sane people. India is a big country. India has good people also. India has the strategic minds also. They exactly know that war with Pakistan will bring misery to India. The biggest loser in war will be India. So they are the people. Unfortunately, my sympathies are with the people of India who have, who are being ruled by a fanatic leadership who believes in the bloodshed of their own people. Now, these 26 innocent people, they have been murdered, butchered by the butcher of Gujarat. He is responsible, and India needs an internal scrutiny of this government, to be very honest. Likewise, the international community need to carry out this scrutiny of this leadership, because whatever they have done in Canada, whatever they have done in America, whatever they have been doing in all parts of the world by using this lead instrument of terrorism. But Pakistani military leadership, day before yesterday, the Chief of Army Staff visited the field area and he visited the strike core operations, preparedness. That symbolizes something. That is a signal across that, yes, we are prepared. Not only we are prepared for the war, we will take this war into the Kashmir, into India, into any part of the India. They'll be very happy to have a conflict restricted to Kashmir, because whenever there will be casualties, either they are on our part of this Kashmir or on that part of Kashmir, the Kashmiris will be sufferers. We will be feeling the pain of these people. So they don't have the, today we have a leadership in India, in Modi, who cannot see the minorities inside India, and they are not comfortable with the sovereignty of their neighbors. And there is only one country which is challenging this mindset and this thought, that is Pakistan, alhamdulillah. We were balanced, we are balanced, and we will, inshallah, Pakistan will go, as the Chief of Army Staff has already said, that they will have a response 2 notch up, two step above the escalation ladder, whatever they will adopt. And he's the Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan. He's a true Muslim. So whatever he speaks with confidence. It's not a rhetoric. He's very much comfortable, and I know exactly from our Siachen till Sir Creek, we all are alert. People are motivated. My own son is a lieutenant in the military. He's deployed somewhere. I just called him yesterday. I said that fight with grace. He was so excited and happy, and he has said that, look, Dad, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me this opportunity just after joining this military. So let me perform. Inshallah, you will not find me lacking behind in whatever you are teaching me. So this is kind of confidence of the young military leadership. And once we have, and this is a time-tested military. We are a battle-hardened military. The war on terror, if that is being fought, we are led by our junior young officers or our young men, to be very honest. I have seen them spirited. So many sacrifices, 27,000 shodas this army, and still people are sending their children to the military. It means that they have the belief in the system. They are confident that our youngsters can do it, and inshallah they will do it.
Absolutely. And Faisal, I also want your take on this. Of course, the ways in which we have seen talk about Pakistan's military preparedness and resolve, and that's very, very essential. There is also a lot of discussion from India's side as to the kind of equipment they have or the kind of technical capabilities they have, and we've discussed this before, but I also want your take again on how much of that will also be dependent on the kind of people that we have and the kind of leadership, especially that we have in the light of the Chief of Army Staff, and in the ways that you have seen so far the actions and the stances being taken by our security forces.
So now, when we talk about Pakistan's military, of course, Pakistan's military has time and again showed to the world that they are prepared. They are prepared not, since few weeks or since few months. Sure. They are prepared ever since they were there. And of course, since more than 20 years, they have been battling against the terrorism, and the whole world recognizes it. The whole world says that, of course, all of the forces that were in Afghanistan, they simply pulled out all of the forces, but Pakistan is still there fighting against this menace, fighting against ISIS, Khorasan, then TTP, BLA, BLF, all of them. And who are they? They are actually proxies of India. They are actually finances of India. Indian billions of dollars, Indians are spending on that. How we know? Of course, when we talk about Indian NSA Ajit Doval, he himself at Shastra University, he said it, that defensive offense would be all about paying somebody to fight against Pakistan, and that is what they have been, of course, doing from the Western Front of Pakistan, because they wanted Pakistan to be engaged on it. They have always been scared of Pakistan's military. That is why they have been relying on other tactics to, of course, engage with Pakistan, be it Western Front. Yes, Pakistan's military is engaged on the Western Front with the Indian billions of dollars. And when we talk about, naval forces, of course, they engage them in the seas, and of course, they have garnered support of the Westerners on the basis of, yes, we will be, giving a tough competition to Chinese in the South China Sea. That is why we have been seeing that Apaches and Chinooks, and then when it comes to Sea Guardian Predators, they have been getting all of them. And now, of course, Rafales they got just because they were nervous since February 2019. Why they were nervous? Because when the time came, they sent in planes towards Pakistan, and Pakistan gave them a bloody nose, and still the whole world is recognizing their pilots with a bloody nose. And when it comes to, of course, the current scenario, I don't think they want to test Pakistan's military at all, because they know that Pakistan's armed forces, they are fully prepared. They might test their own, when it comes to Rafales and the mantra we have been listening from coming from the Modi side, and that was that if Rafale was there, agar Rafale hota, the situation would have been a bit different. But now, when you have Rafales, and we have the information that you are not getting the codes source code for Rafales from the French. French are not giving them. Obviously, they won't give them until their own trainings are done, and they want to actually jump into the war, use these Rafales without the full training. Their training is not finished yet. Still, they want to hurry into, this Modi is such an amazing guy. He keeps on putting all of his forces into these kind of tests, and he wants to test them against Pakistan. Last time around, they were beaten very badly. I think once more they will be, getting them beaten. When it comes to meteors and when it comes to Rafales, fair enough, you have them. We respect these equipments because they are very nice planes. Meteor is a very good missile system, and everything is all okay. When it starts from Dassault, of course, the French, when they send it, it's all good. But who's using it? That's what matters. We always say it's not the gun, but the man behind the gun that matters the most. So in this case, of course, when we are using people like Abhinandans, well, they are sitting ducks, and they will be getting shot again and again by Pakistan's planes. And when it comes to battle preparedness of Pakistan's Air Force, we very well know that Pakistan has J-10Cs. Pakistan has more than 100 PL-15s. PL-15 is not a normal missile, mind you. It is having its reputation throughout the world, and Pakistan has more than 100 of them. And when it comes to Pakistan modifying JF-17s, Thunders, Pakistan has successfully modified them, and with JF-17s even we have PL-15s. And when our planes are loaded with PL-15s, God saves Indian Air Force. That's what I would entirely say. And I think battle preparedness, last time around Pakistan Air Force, Pakistan military, Pakistan naval forces, they highlighted their skills. And this time around, once more, they are doing it. I mean, a couple of days ago, there a couple of Rafales, they actually maneuvered in their own skies to test whether Pakistan does something or not. Yeah. And at the same time, Pakistan had its own planes just to tell them, if you are here, we are here too. And if you do any move, we'll give you a befitting reply. And they went back into their hiding. That's what the rats do.
Right. And Farrukh, earlier you're the one who, you can add to this discussion also, but earlier you're the one who, in our previous discussions also highlighted the role that both the Prime Minister and the Army Chief has played, particularly with the way the situation has been carried forward and how integral that has been in terms of the kind of cohesiveness and united front that we have needed. But in terms of how we see the current situation and in the ways that we are engaging on different fronts, how essential will this united front be in terms of the regional players involved, or in terms of the way that our own internal dynamics will be playing out?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question, Sana, because when this whole thing started, if you were listening to Indian debate, they had three arguments. One, Pakistan is in bad shape. Why? Because we are disunited, right? We are not united because of political party, PTI, this party or that. We are not united at all. The second one is Pakistan is financially compromised, and because of that, perhaps Pakistan won't be able to foot the bill for a long-term war. By the way, that should have been a clue that if, God forbid, if that happens, there could be more escalation, not less, and in a shorter period of time, right? So don't push it. The third one was that because there are terrorists in Pakistan who are attacking Pakistani state, because of that they will have a cakewalk, right? First of all, that has been proven totally wrong, right? Our military is deployed, it is mobilized, we have seen the kind of morale. Army chief actually standing on a tank, speaking to men of a strike corps, of course, Tilla range, right? But that was very impressive. So, they kept on actually producing a lot of propaganda, and they have been inhaling it. Unfortunately, when you look at the way they have been actually shooting themselves in the foot, that actually tells you everything. The first important thing that was done was, because of this change of command, it had to be made clear to India that we are not going to allow something similar to 2016 or 2019. And it was very clearly done. I told you about this incremental attitude that you will keep on getting deeper and deeper into Pakistan and hitting more and more places, and then without any evidence. So we have deconstructed that already. Right. Now let us actually count our blessings. Regarding Indian media particularly, I think that we keep on actually getting agitated by whatever stuff is coming or vitriol is coming from there. But they have been the greatest allies of Pakistan. Why? Every time we used to tell our Western or other friends that India is being irrational, they would say, no, how can that be? India is a democracy. And here's a test case. People sitting on television going bonkers, using obnoxious language. Somebody is talking about, as I pointed out, about his state of affairs south of his body, right? The other person is saying something else of similar sort. So that actually has helped Pakistan a lot because they have gone crazy. Secondly, BJP itself and the way these guys, if you remember, just before General Bipin Rawat's plane fell, we had a discussion. We had an Indian guest also. Yeah. And I told everybody that the way India has been trying to procure various weapons, the problem is you get one system from one country, you get another system from another. In the end, you will have problem integrating all of them together. Yeah. And then I also said that maybe one day you will find out a plane falls from the sky. And next day is dead. But I did not have any information or anything. Yeah. I just was telling you how sad things are, right? And then they have tried to go for theaterization, like integrating all three forces. And that went down with General Bipin Rawat as well, because it was his project. This post was created for his detention. He was getting 3 salaries, and he was being rewarded for actually making Indian Army subservient to the ruling class at that time, and at this time also. So, because of all that, they have actually lost the edge. And Rafael's story is quite instructive in that context. France never gives out its source code. They procured previous planes from France also. They still haven't gotten those source codes, right? So what happens? Now you have a plane, which is a beautiful plane, by the way, right? Yeah. But you don't have the weapons you have, don't go with it. You cannot use them because the plane cannot integrate that because of the source.
You can only use them on Republic Day.
Yeah, well, you can do whatever you want. So with that kind of state of affairs, this madness has actually helped us in all aspects possible. If they think that there is going to be, Pakistan can not last for longer, they should be more worth it, because Pakistan is not going to lose its territory at any cost, right? So what happens? You are just going to make the threshold lower and lower, right? And that is going to escalate further. So why actually push it? I think that in policy circles, there is some understanding of that. And that's why, and because of the international pressure, and by the way, our Prime Minister, our Army Chief have done incredible job. And then Foreign Minister, Information Minister, you and I, General Saab, Raja Faisal Saab, who goes like our, time bomb into Indian channels, right? And explodes the one-man bomb, actually. Yeah? So with all those things, we have shown the world the way we have come together. I mean, I couldn't expect any meme maker to be so effective. And man, it is so effective. You cannot stop laughing, right? Similarly, communication, very effective. And then India jumped the gun. India jumped the gun by not producing the evidence right at the moment they were taking these incredible steps of suspending IWT and expelling Pakistan's diplomats and Pakistani civilians, right? Because of that, it was a step more pertinent to a war. You're going to a war without evidence, without even killing or neutralizing or apprehending the culprits. How silly is that? That actually helped us show that India has lost the plot. And that is why, and no, frankly, India is not as generous as anybody would suggest. So there's no generosity of their heart. It is because they have failed and they know it. And now if their own media keeps on thinking that, and then our media keeps on thinking that as well, then maybe they are going to try to do something. They haven't even deployed right now. Do you know that? They keep on moving their forces, but they haven't actually started their deployment. So I think that in coming days, this bug that is there in the system will gradually fade away. And we are going to talk about other things. Adani Saab's new, that project that was inaugurated and umpteen others.
Who's minting millions of dollars in 26 more Rafales?
Yeah,
Because,
Ambani's?
because whenever there are Rafale deals,
Yeah.
of course, there are so many people who actually mint corruption money from that.
Yeah, the bankrupted Ambani, the other Ambani, actually he was given the Theka. And even to this day, their report that was actually showing the corruption, the charges, it hasn't been actually shared with the public.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll probably be seeing more of that, as you pointed out. But General Saab, I'll come back to you with the way that Farrukh has also explained what our stance has been and what we've put forward in the front. An essential ingredient of that has also been the investigation into what has happened in Belgaum. And while we haven't seen any real evidence, there is this call of a neutral and independent investigation. While we talk about the way that we have put forward the evidence, put forward the facts of India's involvement in state-sponsored terrorism and terrorist networks, and engaged with the diplomatic community for this scrutiny earlier that you were also referring to, how do you think that this will actually going to be playing out, particularly when we haven't seen that happen with past decisions such as that of 2019, when we have seen that India hasn't allowed for that to take place previously as well, and the international platforms such as the UNSC hasn't really done much about it. So where do you see in the international community the potential of this independent investigation actually taking place, of anyone actually having that influence over India and holding it accountable?
So now look, I'm not seeing any joint investigation or India going to for the investigation. You know, there will be a lot of pressure. Now they will try to, carve out a new strategy to get out of it, because they don't want to internationalize this whole thing, this drama. The script was extremely dangerous from the captured documents and from the those documents which are raw documents. They've revealed extremely dangerous plot. They took their media 24, 36 hours prior to the incident in confidence, and raw instructed them. Now, we must understand, the international community must understand that this raw is now operating under this saffronized leadership. So they are calling the shots. This raw is not operating for the, for India. India has sane voices. India has strategists who really think and who understand the implication of war against Pakistan. So they will never ever allow India to go for war with Pakistan, considering the whole balance of power in this region. So they informed the media, and the media was supposed to reveal this information after 36 hours of the incident and blame ISI. So they jumped on the story. Media has a race also, and I don't know what happened. And the government officials, they also jumped. So instead of, and then they launched that, then they were to use around 200 fake social media groups who were to spread all that, all right, with charade, or maybe not charade, but hidden hashtags and all that. So, and blaming ISI and Pakistan. FIR, they were supposed to be, as per the raw plan, they were supposed to be blaming again IS and Pakistan and nominating IS and Pakistan in the FIR. So later on, if there are investigations or whatsoever, so they become automatically a party, because then investigations were to be on the same lines which were mentioned in the FIR. In FIR, they have spoken about the foreign hand. Okay. In FIR, it speaks about the indiscriminate firing, and the media and the government was saying that it was a target killing. So these things were, at tangent. So they themselves were spoiling that whole plot. And after 2636, or after blaming ISI, after setting up the stage against Pakistan, they were to shift their debate towards the Islamic conspiracies to garner and to get international support on this against the terrorism, because there is an Islamophobia and extremism and all that. So they wanted to have a big sport. That couldn't be arranged for, So this is how this was an extreme. And then they deployed Northern Command. They were supposed to be, they were supposed to be coming out with some papers, ISI papers, or some connections with the ISI, finding some papers on the incident site. So nothing could happen the way they planned. So there was a lot of, and I think God never wanted them to be succeeded in that, but unfortunately this is what was their plan. Now, this is 21st century, Sana. Each and every one on God's earth knows what is happening there. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are voices. Now, there are a lot of voices coming out of, from within the India. But again, I would say that they did Pulwama, and then they came out with 370 and 35A. And they're keeping the umbrella of war, the fears of war. Again, they have created an environment, and they have come out with the water accord. So they're systematically they are moving forward, to be very honest. Now we have declared this water as our national vital interest. Yeah. So it means that it has the implications. It's just like the sovereignty of Pakistan, guarding the sovereignty of Pakistan, guarding the geographical boundaries of Pakistan, our Kashmir issue. And now water is the national vital interest. So this war has its own dimensions. So that's why we were supposed to be coming out with a superior strategy to deal with this Hindutva mindset, this saffronized implication. I have already said that they don't want, Modi is not interested to see any minorities inside India, living in India comfortably, and they are not happy with the sovereignty of their neighbors. So this is going to be a long drawn war in different fields. So Pakistan has to come out with a strong strategy, because this is a cunning enemy. Yeah. But alhamdulillah, we are balanced as far as the military is concerned. I am very confident about that, and I have a lot of knowledge about things. What are the plans? They wanted to entangle us in Balochistan also. This was also part of this plot. Once this is happening here, their proxies, as Raja Saab said, BLA and BNA, they will create an environment in Gwadar and in Quetta and all that. Yeah. And in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, they were already infiltrating those 76 Khawarij. We have seen that. That has also been, So Pakistan is alert in all domains, in all fields, and in all, as far as the military is concerned, against all spectrums of threat. Pakistan is alhamdulillah there, and they will have a befitting response. But most important thing for me is response to this mindset.
Right, absolutely. But General Sahab, add to that the dangerous script that you have pointed towards, and the way that this plot was carried out. Of course, it hasn't exactly panned out that way. And so that, of course, also is being reflected upon in the ways that Pakistan has put forward a very, very strong stance, and has been very, very responsible in putting forward its own perspective. But I want your take then, given the fact that if the plan as it was essentially initially hasn't really worked out the way it is, what then will be the next move? We've seen even in Pulwama, as you mentioned earlier, of course, with the attack happening in 2019 February, and then in August 2019 we saw that the number of measures against the unilateral actions against the Indian occupied valley were taken place. So what can we expect at this moment in terms of what has happened? I know that the IWT is already something that India has undertaken without even having the capability to do so. But right now, with the way that the plan essentially has failed, how do you see them making the next move?
They already had a backup plan that has also not worked. Okay. That was around Shopian and something like that. So they will keep coming with the new things, He's feeling embarrassed. And then our nation has started asking him questions. So, they always, there is a huge connection between the politics in India and this warmongering and this war scenario that they create. So, they will keep coming till the time they're doing politics inside India.
Yeah.
There's a poet, Rahat Indori. So, you must have heard that he used to say that सरहदों पर बहुत तनाव है क्या सरहदों पर बहुत तनाव है क्या जरा पता करो कोई चुनाव है क्या. So this is already, this thinking is there. So this Saffronite, this Buddhist mindset, this Hindutva mindset, this is the mindset of that. You remember that who killed Gandhi? Godse was an RSS guy. And why he killed Gandhi? Because Gandhi was a champion of Hindu-Muslim unity.
Yeah.
He was telling them to please don't, all this, whatever belongings of Muslims and their lands and houses, let them stay with the Muslims. Now they have come with the Waqf bill, So anybody who can kill that mindset in India, so this is the kind of mindset. This application will remain protracted. As far as the military actions are concerned, he might launch few, not missiles, because missiles is a very dangerous, and there are thinking minds in India. They will never allow India. It will be the biggest mistake India will make if they go into this missile exchange. That is very dangerous. Maybe some incursions, maybe testing of Rafales or something like that, but that will be responded. But anyway, being a military man, I'm not interested in their intentions. Though I will work out cost-benefit analysis, but I would like to see that they have the capacity or capability, and most importantly, is Pakistan in a position to mount a better response on that?
Yeah.
Yes, they have the capacity, they have the capability, and yes, Pakistan has a superior response ready. And we will take this battle. Then he should not call the RSS leaders into Prime Minister House. He should talk with the Abani, Adani, and Jindal and all that, those who are, those who have invested there. He must ask them that they are ready to pay the cost. They will never allow him.
Farrukh, I want your take on this, because you've spoken about the Modi government and the BJP and how they're actually taking a look at the current situation. But given what we've seen so far and the way that the nation, in India, or people in India are also looking for answers now, or are banking on the previous statements that have been given, both from the media and, of course, with the measures taken by the political government. How do you then see the ways in which Modi had actually planned this out, or in the way that this was actually strategized and thought of, and where it is moving right now, in of course, your own opinion?
Yeah, Sana, this Chunav bit that Zahid Tandoori was being quoted, right? Where General Saab was actually quoting him, and that in elections, usually this happens. This time, there is no election immediately, right? You know that the most nearest election that is going to take place is in Bihar. But something else is about to happen. Modi ji turns 75 in September, right? And there is this pressure from his own party to actually cut out or push him out and get somebody else there, right? And this is the working model of their party, that you create outrage and then you become popular. Advani did this in 90s, and he became very popular. Their party became very powerful, and they came to power. Then Modi ji himself, even before he was elected, he was, a placeholder immediately, because the previous chief minister had left. Then Gujarat violence erupts, and he becomes so popular that he becomes the chief minister of the state, and continues till the time he becomes prime minister. Then Yogi Adityanath, Muzaffarnagar attack that took place, right? He becomes popular. He becomes, chief minister of UP, the most populous state of the country. Now there is a great chance that it might not be Modi who was doing it. It might be. See, there are many characters around him who must be actually looking for his party, his seat. The first one is whom? Amit Shah, right? The man who is responsible for all the dirty deeds that were done on behest of Modi ji. It was true for Gujarat. Had Modi ji not become prime minister, this guy was going to be sentenced for life, right? Rajnath Singh, again the former Adhyaksh of or head of BJP, he is the defense minister, and he must also be eyeing that position. Similarly, Yogi also. So my point regarding this caste census surgical strike was that it changes dynamics so that most of them become irrelevant, right? They all are from which community? They all are from forward caste, right? Modi ji claims to be OBC, right? So there is a possibility that somebody actually tried to pull his leg and he outmaneuvered them, right? So I think that in coming days the entire society's dynamic is going to change, and if that does, they might be at the heart of their country. There's a crisis. There's a crisis of not including people into things, right? 90% of people, OBCs, Dalits, Adivasis, they don't have any voice in media. They hardly have any voice in parliaments, in governments. They hardly have any voice in army, bureaucracy, right? And if you change that equation through a caste census, all of them crowd out the current list of people, right? So that was a master stroke, I think. And because of that, I think in coming days, because he has the backing of Adani's, Ambani's, Mittal, Tata, not Tatas, but Tatas also. Birlas, yeah. Even Tatas, there's another very juicy story nobody covers. You know, there was an attempted coup to, remove Tatas from the position, and somebody else actually sat on the throne. And then all of a sudden, he met with a tragic death, and Tatas were back. So nobody tells you how difficult and dangerous India's business community is also. Right? So Modi ji has got best of both worlds. So I think it is prudent for him to move away from escalation, and in the end, if he does something good regarding Pakistan eventually, and by the way, there are indications, I think that these two hats that our NSA / DJSI is actually wearing, and then they have also nominated somebody for their, National Security Board, an ex-chief of RAW. I think that in the end, the purpose is to de-escalate. Remember, Pakistan is fighting terrorism on its own, right? If there were any people who were willing to export destabilizing ideology in our country, right? And if we were given evidences, why wouldn't we act?
Yeah.
So why do you need all those surgical strikes and all those tamashas for ratings, for TV? Modi doesn't need that now because he has changed the complexion of the entire electoral politics in coming days, right? By usurping or by appropriating Rahul Gandhi's very important project through which he gave him great grief in the previous election, right, national election. So this is the whole story. I am hoping that in coming days there is no further escalation. There is in fact de-escalation. And by the way, India's this establishment, this deep state, which even undercut Indira Gandhi when in 1971, they were separating eastern flanks from the west. At that time, Indira Gandhi and Manik Shah were not on board. There was a general called General Jacob, who was and he was deployed there. He was asked not to interfere, but he did. After that, Indira Gandhi tried to court-martial him, right? Couldn't hold because of India's deep state. This deep state is so stupid, Slara, so stupid, that they have been actually portraying India as the counterweight to China, which sits next door. And they have all these nukes which they either want to use on China or Pakistan, and without realizing, if you actually strike either of them, you are also going to die because of the climatic changes.
Yeah.
Right? The effects of the radiation overall, right? So with that kind of state of affairs, I think in Modi, that deep state has found its match. And I'm hoping in coming days that actually shows as well, because in the end, Sana, we are on the cusp of a great and very strange era. Never has it happened that human race is facing something that it created that can replace it totally. AI, right? Similarly, so many nuclear countries are fighting wars. or at least are in some kind of conflict. Israel is a nuclear threshold country. Russia is a nuclear country. And here are two countries like India and Pakistan, and then China is sitting next door. They're also nuclear. You can destroy human civilization in 5 minutes, but why would you want to?
Yeah.
You don't want to actually release the dogs of war. You want to build peace because of the changes that are coming.
Right.
So it is prudent that to de-escalate and to move on.
Right. Faisal, I want your take also on this. Given, of course, the way that the political dynamics of the BJP are taking shape, how are the political dynamics of other elements, the opposition elements in India, are also taking shape? And what sort of political leverage or mileage do you think all the different elements in India are taking from the current situation?
Yes, and obviously when we talk about the other political parties, of course, we have been, countering the statements coming from the BJP side, but at the same time, there are people like Shashi Tharoor from, Congress party and many more from the other parties as well, who have raised the alarm bells related to, of course, whatever has gone wrong in Pahalgam incident.
Yeah.
Pahalgam incident. And in that, regarding that, of course, whoever's been talking against it or considering it being a false flag and requiring a probe into it, of course, they have been facing the music from the very people who we always see chanting Jai Shri Ram against the Muslim, and they want all of the Muslims of India to chant that as well. So there is a vote support of BJP, of RSS on the ground that makes sure that none of other voices can be heard anywhere, and if there are few, they can be shut it down straight away there. When it comes to India as a state and its a deep state, I would fully agree with Farrukh. I mean, Farrukh highlighted the 1971 war scenario. 1965 war scenario wasn't different at all. What happened to Prime Minister Shastri? Whatever happened to him, the world knows about it. He died straight after that. Who was involved in it? Still, people in India, still, think tanks in India, they are inquiring about it. What happened to Lal Bahadur Shastri and how it happened? Because that man did not want war, but of course, Indian deep state wanted a war at that time, and that man wanted a peaceful resolve as soon as possible. Indian deep state did not want it. When he went there and signed the treaty, and of course, everything was calmed down, the only person who actually lost his life after that was Lal Bahadur Shastri.
Yeah.
Well, deep state plays like this. And this time around, I must say that I think some big event might take place in India. Reason being, deep state is active once more. When
Right.
we talk about IWT, I think it was, and earlier Farrukh highlighted that there are people who are eyeing upon the premier slot. Reason being the 75-year age bracket, which has always been highlighted by BJP, and it has been practiced in past as well. That can be activated.
Implemented by Modi himself
Yeah.
against others.
And when it comes to the other people who are eyeing upon the premier seat, of course, we saw Amit Shah. He was very active in Srinagar the very day this incident took place, and there was a race between Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh ji of who takes the more airtime, because Modi wasn't present there. Modi was actually in Saudi Arabia at that time. So that is very important. Who was coming on air more and more? That's what matters the most.
Right.
So there is a rat race going on amongst the BJP leadership to secure the top slot, and at the same time, who gets the deep state's favor, that's what matters. And I think Amit Shah so far is getting the favors from the deep state. Reason being, Amit Shah wants to do on the political stage to Pakistan what his son has been doing on the sports stage to Pakistan's PCB.
Right.
So to me, I think this is what the whole equation is. That's how they want to play.
And
Right,
my,
that is how-
very quickly, my argument is that this race has, or these attempts have been foiled, right? One thing. Secondly, regarding 65, if you wanted to actually know what their deep state did, what Pakistan was doing, do you know who was, Pakistan's guest on Pakistan Day Parade that year, 65, before the war started? India's minority minister. So Pakistan wanted to be friendly.
Right,
Over to
General
you,
Saab,
General.
you wanted to add something?
As I said, this is a serious situation. We are two nuclear countries. We are responsible. We should behave responsibly. But as I said, that we have to face. We have talked about Amit Shah and all that. You know, this soul of these people will keep shifting. But
Yeah.
the line of their application against Pakistan is going to be same, because they have never accepted Pakistan since our creation. You know, and they will continue with this. So we need to adopt a policy which can implement the behavior change, the change of behavior and it's a gigantic task. So whole of a nation approach has to be adopted, and we have to work again on all spectrum of this. You know, the entire spectrum has to be looked into with a extremely good political situation in Pakistan, with our economy, because but you know, you need to have a wholesome strategy to counter this enemy, because unless we are not going to implement this behavioral change in India, we'll keep coming out with such events. And if we are managing event to event, we are going as a nation, I think it will be very disappointing. Now, whole nation is looking at the military and political leadership, that how they take us, we take them out of this crisis as a responsible country, and then that will also, you know, set the path for our future generations. They are also expecting that something more prudent and more effective for a longer period. That has to be seen, and we have to set the chessboard against India as well and against Afghanistan as well, because that is also a country which is, you know, part of this conspiracy. This is not India alone. There is a complete red syndicate. There are two countries in the world as of today, India and Israel, who are really challenging the, you know, the world, the rule-based societies and all that. This is being challenged.
Yeah.
So we have a serious things to do that needs serious leadership, serious minds, and this leadership has the capacity, has the capability. Now put things in order.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, General Zahid, for joining us. Thank you, Farrukh. Thank you, Faisal, for being a part of the transmission as always. That's all we have time for. We'll now see you Monday.